Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Joe Patty, and I'm going to facilitate this course for you today. We will be talking about Slack. So, what is Slack? Well, Slack helps colleagues within businesses to communicate with one another. Not only that, but you can also share files and links and even search through older conversations. So, sit back and relax, and let us talk about Slack. So, before we go ahead and download Slack, we want to make sure that we pick the right one that we need. And what do I mean by that? Well, there's different versions of Slack available to us based off of what our needs are. So let's go ahead and first go to our web browser. I'm going to be utilizing Google Chrome, and then I'm going to go to slack.com. Once there, I'm going to head over to pricing, and here we go. They have all the different pricing for us and also what it includes with it. Pretty cool. So we have 4 different types here. We have our free, standard, plus, and enterprise grid. So for those of you that are going to get free, standard, or plus, we can do that right away. But for enterprise grid, just know that you're going to go ahead and get a consultation with Slack so that they can best see what your needs are. And then you'll go from there. For this course, we're going to be utilizing the free. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the free version by clicking Get Started. And then it's going to say, first enter your email. So I'm going to go ahead and click my email. I'm going to just use this email right here and click confirm. It's going to then go ahead and tell me check your email. So I'm going to go ahead, check my email, get that 6-digit confirmation code. I'm going to enter my code here. And then when we come back, we'll talk about creating a workspace. All right. So what's the name of your company or team? So I'm going to use my company, for instance, which is Learnit, and I'm going to click on Next. Once there, it's going to say what's a project your team is working on. So example, a Q4 budget, maybe a website update. So what I'll say is we're working on exactly that. We'll do Q4 budget. And I'll click Next. The next thing it's going to ask me is, who do you email most about this project? Now, I could go ahead and add a couple people right now, but I don't know who I'm going to add exactly. I may include my CEO, or maybe I'll include my COO, or maybe my director of operations. So I really don't know exactly who I'm going to add, and that's okay. You can go ahead and simply click Skip for now. Once I do that, it says, ta-da, meet your team's first channel, Q4 budget. So now I can go ahead and click on See Your Channel in Slack. So it says, welcome to Slack. Let's set up your team. So I can see here that I'm the first one on the team here. And I can go ahead and add by including the name and the email of different people. But I'm not going to do that right away. Then after that, you can choose a greeting. Your teammates will see this when they first get to Slack. So you can customize this greeting. I like this one. It says, hi team. Instead of email, let's try using Slack. We'll then go into start using Slack for Q4 budget projects. So we can go ahead and, start messaging and talking about Q4 budgets and really get that conversation going. After that, we're going to wrap it all up. Now, when I go ahead and click Finish Setup, we're going to go ahead and talk about configuring that workspace settings, setting different permissions, and setting team roles. So when you're ready, go ahead and join me, and we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome back. So what I did was I went ahead and clicked Finish Setup. But before I did that, I went ahead and added a couple of people. So I showed us how we did that. We just entered in the name and the email. So I just simply sent an invite to Carly and to Liz, and then clicked Finish Setup. Once there, it brought me to this page, and it said you're all set. You've assembled your team and started your first project in Slack. Now I know we're pretty excited, and we probably want to go ahead and explore. But before we do that, let's go ahead and talk about configuring workspace settings, setting up those permissions, and also setting team roles. So the first thing I'm going to do is go over to the top of my page here where it says Learnit Joe Patty, and I'm just going to simply click. Once I do that, we're going to go down to our setting administration and then our workspace settings. All right, so settings and administration, workspace settings, and it's going to bring us to our settings and permissions. So let's talk about some of those settings. The first thing I see is joining this workspace. We can choose how people join our workspace by accepting an email invitation, or they can actually sign up with an email address from an approved domain. Now, I know that everyone that's going to be in this Learnit workspace is going to actually be from Learnit. So everyone has a approved domain, which is learnit.com. So I'm going to expand this. And what I did was I clicked on Allow Invitations, and I did learnit.com. So anyone that has a domain learnit.com can now simply go ahead and be approved. So I'm going to click Save. Now, this is just a preference for me. If you did work with a lot of outside companies or organizations, you could go ahead and just allow invitations in general instead of going ahead and mining it down to just domains within your company. Once you're done, you click Close. We then have Workspace Language, which just simply chooses the language that is set, which is English US right now. We have Default Channels, where we can choose the channels new members will automatically be added into, in addition to General. Now, when we go ahead and create a new workspace, there's always two channels that will default, General and Random. Those always come, and although we can go ahead and change the names of those, they'll always be there, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and expand this, and I see that right now I can choose that any new member gets included in my Q4 budget channel, and I don't have to worry about General because they're automatically included there. If you don't want them to be in a channel, you could just simply click X, and the new members will just start off in the General channel. I'm going to click Save, and I can close this. We then can go ahead and explain the guidelines that we want our members to follow when it comes to their display names. So maybe I want them to only have their first name, last name. So what I did was I went ahead and I said, we have custom guidelines, which is first name and last name are required. Now, once again, this is preference, and you don't have to follow exactly what I did. We then have name display, which can show your members' full name instead of their display names. We also have email display, which can show their email addresses in their Slack profile. We have do not disturb, which we can set hours for do not disturb in our workspace, where we won't get notifications during that time, even if they sent them. We can choose if we want to let somebody join or leave, and we get a notification about that. So I went ahead and I just like to click on show a message when people join or leave, just so that I know. Once again, that's a preference. We then have hide your workspace URL from external sites logs, which I went ahead and I did. That's on for default. We can also choose how members make calls in Slack. They can use a third-party app, or they can use Slack itself. I always recommend just using Slack itself. So I'll say allow video calls in Slack and calling option Slack. And then close. Now, you do have a setting here where you can go ahead and manage the retention and the deletion rates. Yeah, it's a paid feature. So just see that paid plans and see if it's needed for you. And it'll just bring us back to that pricing there. But you'll know if you need that or not in the beginning. So to get back to my settings, I'm just going to once again go to Settings and Administration, Workspace Settings. And we were all the way at the bottom here. Also, file retention and deletion as well. Yeah, it's a paid feature. We then have the option to go ahead and set a workspace icon. This is Slack's icon by default. So we can go ahead and just simply click Set Workspace Icon. It's going to bring us there. We can choose a file if we have a little picture there. And it has some tips on choosing a good icon. Use a solid background, graphical logo or image rather than a text. Leave some space around your icon, and upload an image that is 132 pixels square or larger. Perfect. We can also talk about workspace name and URL if we wanted to change it. Right now, the URL is learnitspace.slack.com. I love it. Very simple. And we can also delete a Slack workspace and make sure it's not done. So it says, don't delete your workspace if you just want to change your workspace name or URL. You might want to export your data before deleting your workspace. So this is where we can ultimately delete the workspace if we don't need anything. Now, if we wanted to, we also have an option to archive a workspace where it'll go ahead and keep all that data. So it's really up to you. But as you can see, we can export our data and then delete, and that's always best practice. So let's go ahead and get into permissions real quick as well. So setting up permissions. These are just different permissions that you give your members or your team to go ahead and modify your Slack. So as I can see here, messages. We can set who uses @everyone and @channel. Those are going to be talked about a little later. We also can go ahead and talk about invitations, who can invite new people. We can talk about channel management, who can create, archive, or remove members. We then have two paid features here, message editing and deletion, another paid feature, analytics, and so on and so forth. So what you can do right now is go ahead and pause the video, take a look at some of those settings and permissions, catch up with me, and when we come back, we'll go ahead and talk about logging in to our workspace. So we just went ahead and configured our workspace settings right here, and also we set our permissions. Now there's one more thing that we should really focus on before we go ahead and exit out of this. We're going to talk about managing members and roles. Now, if you want to go ahead and click on that, you'll see that we can manage our members. We can also search for current members. We can invite people or even filter. Now you'll see here all the members that are currently in my workspace that I've invited. And you can see here that I'm the primary owner because I created this workspace. If I went ahead and I wanted to make Carly an admin or maybe another owner, I can actually do that by clicking on this ellipses here and going to change account type. And then I can go ahead and choose what account type Carly will have. She could be an owner, which is almost the same as me. She'll have the same privileges that I do, except she can't delete the workspace. That's the only thing she can't do because, well, I'm the primary owner. I created it. Now, if I wanted to make her an admin, that would be if I wanted her to manage or create or delete channels. Or I could just keep her as just a full member. But what you'll notice here, we do get this little setting here where it says, your workspace is currently on the free version of Slack. Upgrading to our standard plan will give you those access to additional user management features. So I can't really do anything right now. So I'm just going to simply click cancel. So go ahead, check out some of those features for managing and setting up team roles. So now that we set up some of those different settings, let's talk about when we're done. We're done for the day in Slack, we're done in our workspace, and we want to just simply log out. Well, we're once again going to go to the Learnit near my name, click on it, and we're going to go to the bottom here where it says sign out of Learnit. And I'm going to give that a nice click. And there you go, we're now signed out. So what happens if we wanted to log in? Well, I'm going to show you how we do that from scratch. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to a web browser. And we'll go to slack.com. And we're going to go ahead and click right up here in the right-hand corner to sign in. And once I do that, I'm going to just enter in my workspace URL, which I know is learnit-space, and I don't have to type in the rest, they have it there for me, and I can just click continue. Once there, it's going to ask me to sign in. Since I clicked save before, it actually preloads my email address and password. I can just click sign in. And there we go. We're back in our workspace. So go ahead, log in, log out, and when we come back, we're going to talk about editing the profile and also setting the status. We're going to talk about editing our profile. So we want to edit our profile so our colleagues and coworkers know who we are and what we do in the company. So to access that, we're going to go over to our right-hand corner here, and we're going to give this a click. Once we do that, we're going to go to View Profile. Now it's going to put your profile over here on the right, and it's going to pin it, and we can go ahead and click Edit Profile. Once we do that, let's fill out some information. So my full name, it says Joe Patty, and it says display name. Now, if you remember in the beginning when we first set up this workspace, we went ahead and we required that there'd be a first name and last name requirement. So I'm going to go ahead and follow that requirement and put Joe Patty. The next thing I could do is say what I do for Learnit, which is I'm an instructor. There we go. I can put my phone number here as well and the time zone I'm in. Not only that, but I could put a face to the name and I can upload an image. So I'm going to click Upload an Image, and let's go ahead and find one. I think I have one right here. Let's see if it works. All right, looks good. I may want to crop out Joseph Patty Instructor and just have my face here, but it's up to you. So I'll go ahead and do that. I think it should be something like that. And there we go. I think that's perfect. And I'm going to click Save. All right, so now I have my image, I have all my changes, and now I'm going to go ahead and click Save Changes. And there we go, everything updated for me. When we come back, we're going to also talk about setting our status. So go ahead and make the changes, update your profile, and we'll go ahead and talk about setting the status right when you come back. In Slack, there's two types of statuses. We have our active status, which is indicated by the green circle here, and we have our away status, which is indicated by just a circle with no filling. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you how we can set our status. So you could set your status right here in our profile, or if we did exit out of our profile, we can go ahead and click up top by our company and our name, and we can click Set Status. You'll also see that there is a keyboard shortcut for that, which is Control-Shift-Y. I'm going to go ahead and click Set Status. So when I do that, it says, what's your status? So what we can do here is we can actually type in what our status is, and then we can click one of these little icons here to go ahead and indicate what our status truly is. So for instance, maybe I want to say that my status is working from home. Now you'll notice that right here, if I give this a nice click, I can go ahead and use an emoji, and I can just search for maybe a house. That looks good. And when I click it, I can go ahead and say working from home with this little house emoji. Maybe I'm working from home because my son is sick. So maybe I can go ahead and type in son and maybe click something like that. My little boy working from home due to son being sick. And then we can choose if we want to go ahead and clear it today, clear it within a certain amount of hours or minutes, maybe this week, or we can choose a specific time and date. Once we're done, we click Save. And now everyone could go ahead and see that I'm working from home due to my son being sick. Now, you're going to notice that I'm still active, and that's because I've been actively in Slack. So the only time that it will go ahead and change to away is if you are not in Slack for 30 minutes. Then it'll choose to set my status as away. But still, it's nice to know that if you click here, you'll notice that I'm still working from home. So not only can you be active and working from home, but you can also be away and working from home. Or maybe you could be in a meeting and that's why you're inactive. So there's different ways to go ahead and see why we're active, where we're at, or why are we away? Maybe we're in a meeting, things like that. So if you go ahead, once again, I'm just going to click here. Clear status will actually clear my status. I can then go back and set another status. And they have some pre-created ones for you, so I might just use this one. In a meeting, and I might say, for only 30 minutes, save. Now, even though I'm active, once again, if somebody emails me, they'll see my icon here, and they'll say, oh, I see he's in a meeting, that's why he's not answering back. And after that 30 minutes, most likely they'll see that I'm going to look like Carly here, which says away. All right, so go ahead, play around with some of those statuses, practice, and when we come back, we'll have some more fun stuff in Slack. When we first created our Slack workspace, what we ended up doing was creating in the beginning an actual channel called Q4 Budget. But I want to talk a little bit more about channels now. So what are channels exactly? Well, channels are topics that we discuss with our coworkers or colleagues. So for instance, Q4 Budget is going to be a topic or a channel that, well, we talk about different things about the Q4 budget. But what happens if we wanted to go ahead and join another channel that maybe somebody else in our workspace has created? So as you can see, I have Carly and Liz. And who knows, maybe they went ahead and created a channel that I'm not a part of. So if you want to go ahead and join a channel, let's go ahead and show you how to do that. The first thing you're going to do is go to Add a Channel. And once you click on that, you're automatically going to be brought to the channel browser. Here you can go ahead and search for different channels, or you could see all the channels within this workspace. And look at that, it looks like somebody went ahead and created a marketing channel. And it says that this is a marketing channel for Learnit. Okay, well, I actually am part of some of Learnit's marketing, so I may want to go ahead and add myself to this channel. Now you're going to only see public channels here. So if the channel was marked as a private channel, well, then we wouldn't see it in this list. So since it's public, I can go ahead and click on it, and it's going to pop up the details right here on the right-hand side. So now I can go ahead and just take a look at the description, when it was created, who the members are, and see what type of shared files there were in this channel. I'm going to go ahead and just simply look at the members. And look, it's Carly. All right, so I think that I want to join this channel because this is a marketing channel for Learnit. And like I said before, I do a little bit of the marketing. So I want to go ahead and click join. Once I do that, look at that. It now adds it over here, and I am now part of this channel. Now there's another way you can do that as well. If you wanted to go ahead and join a channel, you can click on this plus sign right next to channels, and it says add channel. Once I do that, I can browse channels or even create a channel. Pretty cool. So, once again, to simply join a channel, as long as it's public, you can go ahead and join it. And to do so, you would simply go to add channel, browse for it. You can even search, but you're going to see them all right here. Click on it and go to add. When we come back, we'll go ahead and talk about how we can actually create a channel for ourselves. Just like Carly created the marketing channel, we'll go ahead and create one together. So take a moment, and if you wanted to try this out, go ahead and try it out. The first thing you want to do before you create a channel is think about the channel. Well, is this going to be a topic that I can really discuss in detail? Or is this just a general topic that I can go ahead and just discuss in my general channel? So as you can see here, this is the general channel, and it tells me that I created this channel on April 4th, and that this is the very beginning of the general channel. And the description is that this is a channel for workspace-wide communication and announcements, and all members are in this channel. So we want to think, who's going to be a part of this channel? What is it going to be about? And also, do I want to make this channel public or private? Maybe I only want certain people to have access to it, or maybe I want the entire company to be able to add it. So let's go ahead and think about that for a second. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make a channel for operations, because I know that I want operations as a team to go ahead and be able to, well, talk about topics that are associated with operational needs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my plus sign here, and I can click on it and click Create a Channel. Once I do that, it's going to say, what is the name of this channel? And I'm going to go ahead and call it Operations. Once I'm done, I can go ahead and put a description, and I could simply say, this is a channel for the operations team to discuss day-to-day events. Cool. Now, the next thing I can do here is I can go ahead and make it a private channel. And as you can see, it says, when a channel is set to private, it can only be viewed or joined by invitation. So I'm not going to be able to see it if I make it private, but if I go ahead and I keep it public, anyone can search for this and go ahead and be added to that channel or join it. I'm going to go ahead and just leave it public for this example. And I'm going to click Create. All right, it says, hey, do you want to add all 3 members of Learnit, or do you want to add specific people? Now, I know for a fact that Liz is part of my operations team, but Carly isn't. So I may just go ahead and I may just add Liz. Now, I only typed 2 letters and it pulled her up right here. And then I could say automatically add anyone who wants to join Learnit. So this means that if somebody goes ahead and joins our workspace, since right now it's only me, Carly, and Liz, if somebody else added into our workspace, they would automatically be added to this channel. I'm going to keep that off because I don't want to overwhelm them when they first start. I may ask them at a later date, hey, do you want to join the operations channel? But I don't have to do that now. So I'm going to leave that clicked off. But once again, that's a preference. I'm going to go ahead and click Done. And there you go. We have our channel. Now, once clicked into the channel, we have our little description here. It says Operations. You created this channel today, and this is the very beginning of the Operations channel. The description is that this is a channel for operations team to discuss day-to-day events. Perfect. Not only that, but I can go ahead and I can actually see all the little activity I did here. So I joined operations, I set the description, and then I added Liz. Now, if I wanted to, I could go ahead and start typing away different topics or discussions about operations, day-to-day events. And that's how you create a channel. When we come back, we'll talk about how we can actually manage these channels and also different ways to make announcements within our workspace. Now that we have our operations channel, we can do a couple of different things to it. So if I go over to my channels section here, what we can do is if we go ahead and right click near the channel, which I'm going to right click near operations, you'll see we have a couple of options. The first option is that I can star the channel. Now, when you star a channel, what it does is it goes ahead and puts it into a starred section. So if I go ahead and click it, you'll see that we have starred and operations. Now, this is really great if you're a part of a bunch of channels, but you only really communicate in a couple of those channels. So for instance, I know I'm a part of marketing, but I don't talk in marketing a lot. And I know I'm part of Q4 budget, but I don't really communicate too many things in that. I still want to be part of those because I do want to see what conversations taking place from time to time, but I know that I communicate often with operations. So I'm going to star operations just to have it in my starred section because it's important to me. Now, another thing we can do if we right click is we can remove from start if we went ahead and start it. We can also mute the channel. Muting the channel means that you're not going to get notifications within the channel. Now, this can be very important, especially if marketing is going ahead and it has too many conversations that are actually giving me too many notifications throughout the day that I don't really need. So if I wanted to, I could right click and just simply mute the channel. You'll notice that it is muted, but it's not removed from my list. You can tell it's muted because it's a little lighter in color and it's on the bottom. To simply unmute, you can right click and just simply unmute it. So what else do we have? When we right click, we can also leave the channel. So when we leave a channel, we're actually taking out of the channel. We're not part of it. We're not a member of that channel anymore. So if you choose that you're not part of operations, maybe for me, I could just simply leave the channel. And when I do that, the channel will go ahead and disappear. I can rejoin the channel if I went ahead and, well, clicked on channels, went to join, and then went to join it again. Now, additional options, we can go ahead and copy a link to this channel or even copy the channel name. This could be very valuable, especially if we wanted to add somebody. What happens if we had that private channel where we could only do it by invitation only? I could copy the link and invite them. Pretty cool. But that's not it. There's so much more to managing a channel, and I'm going to show you how we can do so. You'll notice that right over here to the right, I have my details panel. And you're probably wondering, well, Joe, how did you get that? Well, how we get our details panel, I'm just going to exit mine, is by going to the channel itself. So I'm in operations and just simply clicking on details. It will then go ahead and pin the details of the operations channel. Here we can find out about the channel itself, what's up for discussion, what's the description, who created it and when it was created, who the members are, shortcuts if there were any, pinned items if we had any pinned, and shared files if we shared any files within the operations channel. We can also add members. We can go ahead and find certain things within this channel. We can even call people and start a call about operations, but we'll talk about that a little later. And we can choose more, which is our little ellipses here. If I click on more, we have a bunch of options. Notification options, muting operations, jumping to a specific date within operations. This is helpful for when you have a lot of information here. And like I said, this exact channel is for day-to-day events. So you can imagine 365 days, well, minus out the weekends, but you never know. We can also copy the channel name, add apps, rename the channel if we had to, but then we also have additional options. So we're going to talk about that for a second. Let's give that a click. All right, so when we click on additional options, here are all my options for operations. So the first thing I see is that we can archive this channel. And it says here, if you don't think it will be used anymore and you want to clean up, archive it. The channel can be unarchived later, but everyone will be removed. So this will help if you don't want to lose any of that conversation and you want to pull it up at a later time, but you know you're not using the channel right now. You can archive it and then you can unarchive it later, but you'll have to re-add everyone. The next thing is I can change this to a private channel if I wanted to. So if you remember when I first went ahead and created operations, I made it just a public channel. But let's say I did want to make it private to only people within operations, I can do so now by clicking on it. Once I go ahead and do this, it says this change can't be undone, so please proceed with care. So it gives you a little warning, and it also tells you things to note. So then I can go ahead and click change to private or cancel. And you know what? I know this is going to be private, so I'm going to change it to private. It once again warns me, Joe, this can't be undone. And I'm going to say, yeah, I know. And there you go. Now I know it is a private channel because as you can see here, there's this little lock. You'll normally see just a number system or a hashtag here. But the lock means that it's simply a private channel. I'm going to go ahead and go back to my additional options. So now that private channel is removed, the next thing in the list would be rename this channel. I could go ahead and rename it if I wanted to, but I like operations because that's what it's about. I can also reset the description of the channel, or I can just go ahead and delete the channel. But warning, if you delete this channel, then everything, all of the messages, everything will be removed and that cannot be undone. So if you know that you're going to need those messages, just simply archive it. Once you're done making these different settings, you're going to go ahead and click on the X. It's going to bring you straight back. If you didn't want to have this details pinned anymore, click on the X, and there you go. All right, so go ahead, try some of those things out, and when we get back, we'll talk about announcements. Let's say I wanted to make an announcement to the group. Well, it depends on who I want to notify about this announcement. Do I want to notify just one person? Well, in that case, I would actually use something called a mention. To trigger a mention, you're going to do @ So when I do @ you'll notice I can go ahead and mention a couple of people here. Carly, even myself if I want to talk to myself, and Liz. So I can start typing Liz, and when I mention her, she'll get a specific notification that she was mentioned. So this can really help to draw her attention to a conversation. But what happens if I want to go ahead and make an announcement to just more than one person? Well, we're then going to use the same thing, a mention, but we're going to use 3 different mentions that work with everyone. So the first one is going to be @channel. So @channel triggers an alert for channel members even if they aren't active in the channel. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you remember, we can take a look at our people right down here, and you can see that I'm the only one that's active. We can tell because of the green little circle. If I went ahead and did @channel, Carly and Liz would also get this message because even though they aren't active, well, I'm using @channel to go ahead and send that notification to people who are active and not active. So when they become active, they can go ahead and see this. What happens if I do something else though? Let's say I lock myself out of the building and I have my laptop on me and I want to go ahead and say, hey, somebody unlock the door for me. Well, if I use @channel, even people who aren't active are going to get an alert. And I'm not going to want that because they're obviously not active for a reason. So we can use something called @here. @here will send an alert to everyone in the channel only if they're active. So I know that they're active, I know that they're actually working, and I know they're going to see my message right away because I want them to see the message right away and come let me in the building. So @channel will trigger an alert for members even if they aren't active, and @here will only trigger an alert to everyone in the channel that's actually active. We also sometimes need to go ahead and make a company-wide announcement. Maybe not in a specific channel, but for everyone in the workspace. So what you would do there is, well, I said it a couple times, you would use @everyone. @everyone is going to go ahead and send a notification to everyone within the workspace. Now this is directly connected to the general channel, because if you remember, every single member on this workspace will always be in the general channel. This is for everyone, no matter who you are. So that's great. So let's go ahead and say that I want to, in operations here, mention Liz. I can do @Liz. Great job on the scheduling. I know it's a hard time right now, but you're doing great. There we go. So now that's going to give a notification to Liz. So she's going to automatically see this, which is great. Now, if I wanted to, I can also go ahead and send an alert to everyone in the channel. So I'll say @channel, and it says notify everyone in this channel. So if I wanted to, I could give that praise to Liz again, but this time I want everyone to see it so that they can maybe congratulate her or say, good job, Liz. So I could do @channel and say, Liz is doing great. Shout out to Liz. There we go. And then I can go ahead and everyone in the channel is going to be notified. Even if they aren't active, once they become active, they'll go ahead and do that and they'll see it. Now, if I wanted to send an alert to only the active people, which I see there's none, but we'll pretend there was, maybe in marketing or maybe in Q4 budget, I can say @here, and I could just simply say, maybe give it a click and say, hey, can one of you please give me a call? Thanks. Now I know they're both going to not get this one because, well, as you can see, nobody's active. All right. So let's go ahead and use the last scenario. If I go into general, because I know everyone's in general, right? I can go ahead and use @everyone, and it says notify everyone in your workspace. So once again, this is a full communication to everyone within our workspace, and I can just simply say something like, the building will be closed until further notice. So that's a company-wide thing that I need everyone to know. So now everyone, whether they're active or not active, everybody will go ahead and get that notification. All right, so I hope you enjoyed the notifications part. If you want to try it yourself, go ahead, stop the video, and go try it. As I was making those announcements, you may have noticed that I was actually writing messages. And to write a message is very simple. I'm going to go ahead and move over to my marketing channel, and I'm going to talk about messages. So as you can see here, this is the message box. And to write a message, we simply go ahead and type within it. But you may notice that we have a couple of tools right down here for formatting. Let's go over those, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at our tools over here as well. So the first thing that I notice in my formatting tools is that automatically I see this little lightning bolt. This is what's known as shortcuts. And if you give it a click, you'll notice we have a bunch of different shortcuts. The first thing we can do is add shortcuts or even search for them. Now, I have a couple of pre-installed shortcuts that Slack actually went ahead and did on its own. So we see here that we have set myself a reminder, start a call, create a post, or even create a code or a text snippet. So you can go ahead and simply add any of these shortcuts if you wanted to. Look at that, we could do a simple poll, maybe a GIF, OneDrive access, calendar, Google Drive, Google Calendar, but I'll save that for later. Right next to it, we have different formatting tools like B for bold. And we also see here the keyboard shortcut is Control B. Now, if you've ever used any Microsoft products or any Google products, you'll know that when you go ahead and you click Control B, it bolds whatever text you're trying to format. We also have italic and strike through. If you wanted to go ahead and input something in a code, so for instance, if I wanted to do some HTML coding, I could utilize this. A link, which we'll talk about in a little bit, ordered lists, bulleted lists, and also block quotes, and then a code block for a larger code. So if I wanted to say something like, hey, how is the project A looking? And I may just want to go ahead and just simply bold project A. I could go ahead and highlight it and click bold, or I could have used Control B. And as you can see here, it is now bolded, and I can italicize that as well. And there you go. That just helps it to look more standoutish so that they can see what I'm actually talking about, which is project A. The next thing I can do is I can actually go ahead and I can hide my formatting. And if I give that a click, you'll notice all my formatting goes away. If I click it again, it goes ahead and brings it back. I also see down here it says press return or enter to send this. But let's say I wanted to go down a second line. If I click shift and return, I can add another line. So for example, if I hold shift, press enter, instead of just sending the message, I go down and jump down a second line. I also see here that I have my mentions. So if I wanted to mention maybe Carly, I could do @mention and Carly. I can also add an emoji. And we have a bunch here. Maybe I want to do I don't know, how is project A looking? Maybe looking. Couldn't find anything. Maybe search. Ooh, I like that one I just saw. Let's do look. Kind of look like glasses there. So I might use this as looking. I can also go ahead and add an attached file as well to this message. Once I'm done with my message, I can just simply press enter. And there you go. We have now gone ahead and sent a message. But what will it look like if I went ahead and I responded to a message? Well, if I actually get a message and I want to respond to it, there's a couple of ways I can do that. Now, the best practice is to actually respond to a message instead of starting another message. So what do I mean by that? So let's say I have a message. Let's see if anyone has sent me anything yet. So it looks like Liz wrote just arrived. Now, if I went ahead and I just simply sent, welcome Liz, it would be out of nowhere and she would probably be like, okay, I sent just arrived yesterday at 10:18, but he wrote welcome. Is he talking about this comment or something else? So instead, you may notice that every time I hover over, I actually have a couple options over to my right-hand side here. Let's go ahead and view a couple of those. So to get those options, you're simply going to hover over. Once you do that, you can go ahead and add a reaction. Maybe I want to do something like a thumbs up or a big smile. And there we go. You see here that I clicked on a grin. So I'm happy that she arrived. I then can also start a thread, which is something that I would want to do because I actually want to reply to this exact message. Like I said, if I put you're welcome here, well, then it would be out of nowhere and nobody would know what I'm talking about. But if I go ahead and start a thread, I can then see here that the thread pulls over to my right-hand side and I can actually respond to this exact post. So I'm going to simply say, welcome. Glad you can hang out. Once again, I have all my tools and I could press my send message and it responds directly to this message here and we can see my reply. All right, to get out of the thread, just click close. I can also go ahead and share this message if I deemed it very important and I wanted to share it maybe with another team or maybe at another channel. I can also save this message if I like. And if I click it, it's just going to go ahead and add it to my saved items. I can also go ahead and click more options to unfollow this thread so I don't get notifications when other people reply. I could copy the link to this thread. I can mark it as unread if maybe I got to it and I was like, oh, I didn't really get a chance to read this. I can even say, hey, remind me about this in about an hour. I don't have time to read it right now, but in an hour I will. I can also pin to the channel, delete, or add a message shortcut. But let's talk about pinning to the channel. If I go ahead and I click pin to channel, what you'll notice is that it brings back my channel details. And now under pinned items, I can now see that this item was pinned. So it's a quick way for me to go ahead and access it. Now, the cool thing about this is that let's say that I have something that's super important and I want everyone to see it right when they join the team or the channel. Well, when they do that, they'll automatically see all the pinned items. So they'll be able to see the most important conversations about that channel. Pretty cool. All right, to get out of here, I'm just going to go to close, and that's it. When we come back, after you go ahead and practice, of course, we'll talk about how we can actually send a direct message to somebody. Instead of sending it in a channel where everyone can see it, maybe I want to talk to Carly or Liz personally one-on-one. So stay tuned. Let's say I want to go ahead and have a one-on-one question with Carly. Well, to do that, I would simply have to direct message her. So in Slack, direct messages are messages between two individuals in a workspace. So for instance, if I wanted to, right underneath my channels here, what you're going to notice is that we have a section called direct messages. And you'll see that right now, I do have Carly here and also Liz. Now, if I wanted to, I can go ahead and click on one of their names and go ahead and direct message them right away. Or I can go here and click the plus sign and search for somebody. So for instance, if I click the plus sign, it's going to say find or start a conversation. And it looks like that I already have a conversation going with Liz, but I want to go ahead and start one with Carly. So I can start typing in Carly's name, or I could have just clicked Carly. I'm going to then click go. And look at that. It says this is the very beginning of your direct message history with Carly Lutz. Only the two of you are in this conversation and no one else can join it, which is perfect. That's all I wanted. So I'm going to say, hey, Carly, can I give you a call tomorrow using Slack. Thanks. So once I'm done, I press enter. And what you're going to notice before I press enter is that I still have all those same formatting tools available to me, and it looks pretty much the same as my messaging or posting capabilities within the channels. So I'm just going to press enter. And there we go. Now, you may be saying, hey, Joe, I noticed that when you go ahead and you press enter, you see Slackbot. What is that? Well, we're actually going to talk about Slackbot in the next section. So go ahead, direct message a friend or a coworker within your workspace and give them a direct message and tell them they're doing amazing. And when we come back, we'll go ahead and talk about Slackbot. So I just messaged Carly, and even though she's away, I still got a response. But it wasn't from her, it was from Slackbot. Now you're probably wondering, what is Slackbot? Slackbot's actually a piece of artificial intelligence that's here to help us out. So it can respond to things and say, hey, Carly isn't currently do not disturb mode and may be alerted of this message right away. So it's letting me know that. I also saw it in my general when I made a response and it says, wonder who can read this recent message. So it's just there to really help me out. Now you'll also see Slackbot. We can actually direct message Slackbot. So if I went ahead and I clicked on Slackbot, it says, hi, Slackbot here. You can ask me simple questions about how Slack works or just type a few keywords. So I can go ahead right now and I could say, hello. Welcome back. Oh, thanks. Can you set a reminder? And there we go. It searched for set a reminder in the help center and it was able to pick up set a reminder. So if I go ahead and I click it now, I can actually go ahead and set a reminder and it tells me exactly what to do. It says type the /remind in a message field to create a custom reminder for yourself or other members. Cool. So if I go ahead and I just type in /remind, look at that. I can also remind at someone or a specific channel what and when. And I can set that reminder there. Pretty cool that it was able to do that. It also says working with Slack and it has all those little help center articles that can help us out. So go ahead, try it out on your own. And when we come back, we'll talk about making a Slack call. So even though I can go ahead and I can post things in my channels here, and I can also communicate and text my coworkers or even Slackbot, wouldn't it be nice if we could go ahead and call them? Well, the cool thing is that we actually can. So how do we do that? Well, if I click on Carly again, you'll notice that right here in the upper right-hand corner is a little telephone icon. And if I click it, it's going to say call Carly using Slack. So I'll give that a click. Now, Carly's most likely not going to answer. I know that she's not working, and it may ask you right here to use your microphone. I'm just going to click allow. Now you'll notice that my microphone is on, and you can tell that I'm talking. It's going ahead and testing my levels. I can also enable a video if I wanted to, and I'm going to allow that for the first time. And it'll turn on my camera, which I currently have blocked out, so I'll turn it back off. But when I don't have it on, I'll have my profile picture there. You cannot use the share screen. It actually needs to be, and I'll go ahead and just call again just to show you some of those things there. So you do need to upgrade to a paid plan to use the shared screen. I can also send a reaction while on the phone and she'll be able to see that. I can add other people. I can end the call. Or I could go into some settings. And I can name this call. I can see my audio settings and video settings as well and set those up. Once I'm done, click away. And to end the call, I'm just going to leave the call. And there you go. That's a call within Slack. So go ahead, try a call, and we'll come back. And the next thing we'll talk about is how to share links and actually utilize keyboard shortcuts. Now, there's going to be times where I want to go ahead and share something with a coworker or a colleague, right? So I may want to share a link with somebody. Maybe I want to share my Learnit homepage. Let's say I want to share that with Carly. Well, it's super easy to do that. The first thing we're going to do is we're simply going to click on link, or we can use the keyboard shortcut Control-Shift-U. And once I click on it, there we go. It says add the text. And I may want to just simply name this Learnit homepage. I can then go ahead and grab the link or type it in, which is www.learnit.com. And I can click save. Once I go ahead and press enter, Carly will now have access to that link, and all she would have to do is just simply click on it. And there you go, it brings me to my homepage. So super easy to go ahead and utilize links. Let's also talk about using keyboard shortcuts. So to go ahead and use a keyboard shortcut, there's two ways to access the keyboard shortcut menu. The first way is for Windows, Control/. So you'll notice right up here, once I click Control/, it goes ahead and pulls up my keyboard shortcuts. For a Mac, it's going to just simply be Command and /. So if anyone's on Mac out there, go ahead and press Command and / and you'll see all of the keyboard shortcuts for the Mac. Now you can see here that I have my basics, my navigation, and so on and so forth. So if you want to go ahead and take a moment to look through all those, maybe use some of them, great. And when we come back, we'll talk about how we can actually go ahead and search our workspace to find people, channels, files, and even messages. There's going to be a time where we may be looking for something, whether it's a file or maybe an old conversation or even a person. Well, the good news about Slack is that it has an amazing search capability. So you'll notice that right up top is our search, and I can search through Learnit's Workspace. I'm just going to simply exit out of my keyboard shortcuts, and I'm going to just go to search. And what I notice is that I can actually search for anything. It says search far and wide, but it also tells us that we can go ahead and narrow our search down if we include from or in. So let's say I wanted to go ahead and see something from, and look at that. It says I could search in messages, files, or more. I'm going to search for something from Liz. And look at that. I can see here that Liz actually sent me a message, just arrived. So I can see all the messages Liz has ever sent me, any files she's ever sent me, any channels that she's in, or any channels that she's invited me to, or even just people. But Liz didn't really send me any people, so it's not applicable here. I can also clear the search here. And let's say I'm searching for a certain file. I know it's in operations, but I don't know anything else about it. Or maybe I don't even know it's in operations. I could go ahead and just start typing in the file name. And look at that. It tells me it's a Word document and tells me what it's called. But let's say that I did know where it was and I wanted to narrow the search down. I could say in, and I can go ahead and type in operations. And it says search messages, files, and more. I can see I have 4 messages within operations channel. And look at that, I have 1 file. And there it is. Now you'll notice that we have message, files, channel, and people. But next to each and every one of those, we actually have something called filter by, where we can actually filter to make it easier to find things. This is super helpful. So let's say maybe I wanted to search for a certain file. Maybe we had like 100,000 files in here, and I wanted to go ahead and narrow it down to a document. Well, it's going to pull up all those documents. Maybe I want to see who shared it and narrowed it by who shared it, or shared in, or even the date that it was shared. So you can see how the search functionality is just super in-depth and amazing. So go ahead, take a moment, and try it out for yourself. And when we come back, we'll go ahead and talk about more settings within Slack. Now, in the beginning of this whole course, we went ahead and showed you how we can set up some of those workspace settings and even set some permissions or even set team roles. But now I want to talk about our preferences and what that looks like. Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'll exit out of here and we're going to go over to our company and our name and give that a click. And we're going to go to preferences. Once there, you're going to notice that we have a whole section of different things here. The first one being notifications. The first thing that you're going to want to do, if you haven't already, is you may see something that says enable desktop notifications. Go ahead and simply give that a click. That is going to enable the little notifications that pop up in the corner here. Once you do that, you'll have this page that looks like this. All right, so now take a look at all these different things that we can go ahead and set up. Now, this is all preference for you. So everyone's is going to look different. Everyone's is going to be different depending on what you like or don't like. So after I go ahead and put my notification settings or preferences, I'm going to go to sidebar. Now, you're going to notice that sidebar sections are for only paid plans. So once you get a paid plan, you can actually organize and group your conversations. But until then, if you're using that free version, that's okay. We don't need it. We can also show unread conversations, all conversations. We can show all unread, which is messages that have been collected that we've missed in one place. List private channels separately as well. So if I click that on, it'll go ahead and it'll list that operation separate than the rest. We then can go to themes and choose what looks nicer. I don't know, maybe the dark? No, I'm going to stick with the light. You can go ahead and customize it, the different colors here. I really like it looks kind of like a bluish, but they call it something else. That looks good. I like them all. I'm going to pick this one. All right, we can then go to message and media, and we can choose to display full name and display names, Meg and Ann, or just a display name, which is Meg. And a bunch of different options here. Language and region, accessibility, our mark as read, and also some advanced settings as well, like different inputs, search options, and some other ones as well. So go ahead, take a moment, set up your preferences, and when we come back, we'll go ahead and talk about adding apps within Slack, and then we'll talk about our desktop app and also the mobile app. Yes, there's more than just this online version of Slack, which is awesome. So take a moment, and I'll see you back. Great. So I'm glad that you went ahead and set up your preferences. This is going to be really great for you. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on the X. And let's talk about adding applications to Slack. Yes, Slack is amazing in itself, but it even becomes more amazing when we go ahead and add different apps that we come to use and know every day. So how do we do that? Well, you'll notice that we went ahead and we talked about our channel section here, our direct messages section, but we haven't really talked about our app section yet. Well, that's because there's nothing here yet. We haven't added anything. So let's go ahead and do that. To do that, we're going to click on the plus, which is Browse Apps. Once we do that, we can go ahead and search apps by name or category, or we can even look at some of these ones that pulled up right away. Now, look at this. We can actually go ahead and add our Google Drive here. We can start Zoom meetings directly from Slack. We can even do Google Calendar, simple polls. Look, it's endless. Pretty cool. So once you go ahead and find what you want, let's say I want to let's do my Outlook calendar, and I click Add. It's going to bring me right here to the app directory. It's going to give me information on the app, some settings, some of that security and compliance that tells me just some of those details to better understand the security practices. Once I'm ready to go ahead and add after reading all this, I can go ahead and click Add to Slack. Now, once I do that, it's going to go ahead and say Outlook Calendar is requesting permission to access the Learnit Slack workspace. And I'm going to say, yeah, that's great. And then it'll give you little things like, well, what will your Outlook Calendar be able to view? And what will Outlook Calendar be able to do? So if you have those questions, you can go ahead and just simply click and see exactly what's going to happen. Once we go ahead and click Allow, it's going to actually allow for our calendar, and I just have to go ahead and sign in first. It says permission request. I'm going to say accept. And it's going to take a moment there. And there we go. And look at that. We now have Outlook Calendar. It says, now that you're all set, try turning on automatic status updates. Your status in Slack will automatically update based on your calendar when you're in a meeting, out of office, or working remotely. So I could go ahead and turn that on there. And there we go. So, pretty cool. I actually have 3 options here. My home, which is what's going on today, which this is pulled directly from my Outlook calendar. I can go ahead and look at messages and even about once again. And that's where I'll find those settings as well. So pretty cool that we can go ahead and add different applications. So I don't know exactly what apps that you're going to be adding, but why don't you take a moment and look through some of them and see if you want to actually add them to Slack. And when we come back, we'll go ahead and talk about taking it on the road, which is our mobile application, or just having a desktop app instead. We've been using Slack within the web browser, but there's more than one way to actually access Slack. One is through our web browser, but another one is to download the app, or go ahead and download the mobile app. So to download the desktop app, we're just going to open a new tab, and we're going to go to slack.com/downloads. Once there, it's going to pick up that we're actually using Windows instead of a Mac. If you had Mac, it would say Slack for Mac. Once there, we can go ahead and just simply click download, or we can even get it on the store as you saw, and it'll say thanks for downloading Slack for Windows, and it'll have the Slack setup right down here. And then you'll just follow that setup guide. But what happens if you want to go ahead and download the mobile app instead? Well, to download the mobile app, you're going to go ahead and get on your phone, and you're just going to simply go to the Play Store right over here, or the Apple Store. I'm going to then just search for Slack, and there we go. I would then just simply click install and just sign in to my Slack, and now you have the mobile app, the desktop app, and also the web browser. Using all 3 of them is a great way to stay connected to your coworkers and colleagues. So go ahead, try that out, and when we come back, we'll go ahead and say our goodbyes. So it's been an amazing journey with everyone, and I hope you really enjoyed this course. Now, we know Slack really helps colleagues within businesses to communicate with one another, right? But as you saw, there's so much more to Slack. You can add apps, you can go ahead and share files, you can direct message people, talk about topics that are going on within your company, make channels, manage channels, all this stuff built around helping your business to communicate better with one another. So I hope you enjoyed, and till next time, stay safe and stay healthy.